get you more analysis on this year's Davos Forum. We're now joined by Eva Yi in Hong Kong. She's a chief economist at Huatai Securities. Eva, welcome to Global Watch. This year's Davos highlighted the importance of trust among global economies, and we know trust is a scarce commodity these days. How can global economies leverage that trust to avoid the dilemma of long-term low growth?
That is a good question. Although I have to point out that growth on the surface is holding up okay despite all the volatilities in the geopolitical, trading, and diplomatic space. For example, the IMF recently revised up 2025 global GDP growth to 3% from 2.8%. That was last year in the face of the highest tariff hike from the U.S. we've seen since after the World War II, and a very volatile U.S. growth environment, especially in the first half, when in the first 100 days of Mr. Trump's presidency, he has attempted a lot of reforms to the government, including DOGE and etc. In 2026 or even 2027, I think on the surface, global growth might continue to look okay, driven by three major forces. Number one is the AI spending cycle. As Jensen Huang also pointed out in Davos, we are seeing experiencing the maybe largest scale infrastructure build out in human history. Although sounding a bit sensational, it is hard to dispute. Be reminded that almost half of U.S. GDP last year, half of U.S. GDP growth last year was driven by AI-related investment, and that is set to only grow in the next few years. And second, we're seeing a synchronized global fiscal expansion, although that poses an issue later because fiscal sustainability is already in a lot of questions. But that will expand demand this year, especially in the national defense and security-related sectors, especially with NATO, Japan, say a lot of other allies, U.S. allies also expanding their fiscal deficit. Number three is also, I think trade disputes and tariff will be less of a detractor. It won't be a contributor, but less of a detractor mathematically would make things look a little better this year. But as many of the global leaders, economists, and political scientists pointed out, the rule-based global economic or even diplomatic order has been ruptured in 2025. AI might mask a lot of efficiency loss from lack of global cooperation, and fiscal stimulus, although a short-term sort of boost to growth, and it is coming at a time when fiscal burden is already at its highest level since World War II for developed countries. That will anchor a lot of expectations. If you look at the price of gold, you can see that people are seriously casting questions around the credibility of the fiat money in general. And the AI-driven investment boom and efficiency gain, although it will boost growth, but it will pose a lot of issues later on as well. So I think we need to be more vigilant in protecting the rule-based global order where we can, provide visibility to multinational corporations and financial institutions, balancing global growth and be mindful of widening inequality, and protect central bank independence in order to fend off these excessive inflationary expectations and unanchored long-term, say, bond yield and fiat money, fear of fiat money becoming, losing value and so on long-term.
Eva, a lot of forum participants praised China for being an anchor for the world economy. What new opportunities for cooperation would you say there are for China's high-quality development and institutional opening up? What opportunities do these unlock for the world?
I think in his remarks, Vice President He Lifeng was very clear in delivering the message that China will stick to its long-held reform and opening up policies. It's very encouraging, of course, and he also stressed in his speech, more encouragingly, that in addition of being the global manufacturing center or global factory, China is very happy to be the global end market as well. Well, it poses a lot of new opportunities and challenges. For example, with the AI-related infrastructure spending blooming, the global energy system is in need of an overhaul. China can contribute to a lot of global matters by helping with infrastructure build-out and supply chain management, and even helping out with safeguarding the global energy infrastructure. China also promised to open up its, vast consumer market, including Vice Premier He said, including the service sectors, to attract more global capital to invest in China and participate in China's growing demand. And also, I think being the largest global exporter and second largest global importer, China, by adhering to the rule-based principles of global trade and economic cooperation, can help anchor a good part of global supply chain and counteract some of the uncertainties geopolitical and other matters might bring. Because Vice Premier He mentioned that global share of trade done under the most favorable nation principles has declined from 80 to 76%. But the good news is that there's still 76% of goods traded more freely in the world. So by coordinating among the countries that share the same free trade principles, we can prevent that share from dropping, prevent inefficiency and welfare loss from trade barriers. And of course, also China can contribute to global governance in other ways, such as cybersecurity, humanitarian initiatives, healthcare and climate change initiatives, and so on.
Eva, we appreciate your expertise and your analysis. Thanks so much for making time for us today.